It's that time of year again. The Georgia National Fair has come to town. There's just one little bitty problem. I'm stuck in Pennsylvania. So I'm gonna miss it. I really need a reason to smile. Oh, here it is. Yes, Joker Folie Deaux, whatever that means. A sequel to the breakout standalone Joker film, starring Joaquin Phoenix as the clown prince of crime. This film takes place about 2 years later, and poor Arthur is still stuck in Arkham, awaiting a bunch of doctors and lawyers proving that he's sane enough to stand trial for all the deaths he caused. But now there's a wild card. Lady Gaga plays Harleen Quinzel, a young woman who may or may not be a fellow inmate, and one who may or may not have a far different backstory than what we're used to. They meet, and romantic chaos ensues. I'll come right out and say it. This film was painful to watch. Not because it was bad, it was quite interesting. It's just the level of brutality that Joaquin's Joker has to go through was a little uncomfortable. The guards at Arkham Asylum, at least the hardcore prison section, are just as evil as the guys they say they look over. Brendan Gleeson plays this one guard. At first you think, okay, maybe he's going to show a little compassion to the worst of the worst to maybe bring out their humanity. But then, boom, he does something that is completely irredeemable. And I'm not going to get into details because you have to see it for yourself. And some of it they don't show per se, but you know what happens and you don't want to know what happens. Once again, Joaquin Phoenix plays Arthur Fleck, aka the Joker, as a tortured individual who tries and fails to find some semblance of humanity and ultimately gives in to the mad clown. And you can't help but feel for him. You know that if his human side is nurtured, then he could be something, even if it is a storefront advertiser. But this rotten city he lives in refuses to allow him some semblance of humanity. It basically sets him on fire and hammers him until what's been forged is something that Gotham deserves and needs right now. Yes, I'm referencing Dark Knight. As for Harley, I'm going to say that while Lady Gaga was watchable and her singing was okay, she's not quite the Harley I prefer. That title still goes to Margot Robbie and the late great Harleen Sorkin. Their Harleys were the Harleys. Gaga's Harley was just okay. Honestly, I kind of wish Joaquin Phoenix's Joker and Margot Robbie's Harley could get together. They would be a fun couple. Anywho, Gaga's Harley was more of a manipulator. Somewhat like Mark Hamill's animated Joker, a manipulator who plays on sympathy, should I say preys on sympathy, and when things don't go right, let's just say she doesn't take it well. She's not violent per se, more passive. I can't picture her wielding the big hammer. But she does wield other things quite effectively. As for the rest of the cast, the Arkham inmates are entertaining to watch. A couple of them even seem to befriend the Joker, only for some of their stories to end in tragedy. Whereas the Gotham townsfolk seem to be just as messed up as the Arkham inmates, but they're not seen as evil because they're law-abiding citizens. But honestly, Joker seems to be the only one in or out of Arkham who isn't deluding himself. Let's just say the rot of Gotham pre-Batman is very, very, very evident. The movie itself clocks in at almost 2.5 hours, which is a bit long. Maybe if they just had one big musical number instead of a whole bunch, because this was basically a musical, the film wouldn't be so long. But if you cut the music out, I would say it's a fairly tight story about Gotham trying to take down someone they think deserves it, while someone else is trying to revel in the madness. Whereas the one everyone's focused on just wants some peace and quiet. I would say it's not as good as the first one, but it has its moments. So yeah, overall, it's probably good that they're not going anywhere past here, because there are things at the end which suggest it might be a prequel to something. I'm not going to say what, but you'll notice little details right at the end which just scream a movie that's already come out. Overall, Joker 2 was, I'd say, a passable, tragic ending of one of the most memorable tragic characters in all of DC. Yes, more tragic than the Batman. If you're looking for a laugh, this ain't it. But if you're looking for pathos, it has it in spades. This is Mr. J signing out and reminding you, if you gotta go, go with a grin and leave the audience wanting more. All the world's a stage. Try not to fall off.